Let's start with a technique given by Master Gurdjieff. Master Gurdjieff was from Russia, and he traveled a lot in the world, and his famous disciple was the famous mathematician P.D. Ouspensky. So this is the crux of his teachings and the experiments he used to undertake on his disciples. So let's start about self-remembering. Self-remembering actually in totality can only be understood once we have the knowledge of what is self. Then the question of remembering the self will arise. So let's start the core of this teaching. We have one ability with us as humans, is that we are capable of attention. We can attend. This is the ability of mind. So what can we attend to? If you look at your current experience, you can attend to either one object, multiple objects. So accordingly you can understand that there is a range to attention. There is a property called range to attention. You can either decrease the range by focusing your attention on one object, and you can increase the range by focusing or by including the many objects in your focus. This is the ability of the mind. So with this ability, attention, you can see that this attention, if it can be turned toward the world, the outside physical world that you perceive, that can be brought into attention. Next thing is, you can even see your own body. You can see your own hands, on skin, on legs. So some part of the body you can also attend to. Third thing is, you are also aware of your thoughts that can come under the mind, or the perceptions which are related to the mind. You can also see that you are aware of or you can attend to some of the emotions you have, fear, some, or likewise the laughter and other things. Some sort of energy, quality of energy, you can also feel the lack of it or the increase of the energy in your body. Now there are other sensations also which you can attend to, like sensations of hunger, sensation of cold, and many other perceptions, like the sensation that you can pay attention to the level of the body, whether it is standing correctly in the level or not. That is also done by some senses. So these are some of the broad things in your life which you can attend to. You can either pick one of them, or you can attend to all of them simultaneously, and so on. So there will be infinite perceptions which you can attend to. So next thing is, we are going to categorize all these objects of our attention into experience. So these things, world, body, till infinity, they constitutes our experience. Now a very simple question would be, what is the source of this attention and these experiences? What is the source? This is the most important question to be asked in life. What is the source of everything you are perceiving, everything you are paying attention to? And with your direct cognition, with your direct experience, you can see that it is the self. Everybody has it. Even right now you are having your own self. We'll come to some of the details in a bit now. So just assume that the source of all these experiences and this attention is the self, that is the light. So we call self realization or enlightenment to a person who has the knowledge of the self. We also term this self as the experiencer, which experience. So the subject is the experiencer. This is the another name for the self. Now the most famous name is Atma. You might have heard of it. Next thing is Chetana. To be aware of the self is called Chetana. Then the metaphorical name in our country for the self is Shiva, the Lord Shiva. In the Upanishads, in the Vedanta, in the various other philosophies, ancient philosophies, it is called the Purush. So, coming on to the experience, you can also see it with your direct experience that it is the changing element of existence. Whatever we have assumed to be constituted under the experience, all of these are changing in nature. They are always dynamic, even if they are assumed to be static for some period of time, but the time will tell, if you fast forward the time, that these things are also changing at some speed. You know that the even the land have some speed. In the geography we can feel, we are being taught that some centimeter per second would be the speed of the continents. So you can you can contemplate on this fact that these the things which are in our experience, they are all the changing parts of existence. Now this self is the only unchanging element of existence. Yes, it is the unchanging because it is the observer of all the changes. To observe all the changes, there must be something static. The static is only in the term we are using only in relation to the changing things. So, the self is unchanging. Otherwise, if self is also unchanging, if self is also changing, then who is going to notice this? So, it is a matter of both direct experience and with the use of logic also one can come to this conclusion that it is the unchanging element of existence. Now it is also the substance of existence. Why the substance of existence? The famous metaphors used is of gold and the ornaments made from the gold. The ornaments are the changing forms of the gold. So the substance is anything which is the inherent description or the essence of the things. The essence does not change, but the forms can change. So the all by this metaphor, these experiences and the complete perception, these are the changing forms, these are the ornaments. And what is the essence of these things? That is the self, that is the you. So we can call this that experience is the dependent existence. Because you are, that's why there is the world. It's not the other way, that because there is the world there is you. In the language you have to put something first. That's why, because in order to make our intellect understand, we are using this term that it is the substance of existence, and that's why it has come first. Now these once you have the direct experience or direct cognition of the self, I know we are using the term experience, but it is actually not an experience. Just to give a pointer that what is the source of all the experience, we are saying that you can directly perceive that it is the self. And as self is the light, it is the light under which all the experiences shines, then this self is actually self-evident. It does not need anything to shine light upon itself. Like you have a bulb, it does not need any other bulb to make itself seen. So this self is self-evident. Now it is having independent existence. Yes, this self is having the independent existence. It is the absolute element of the existence. It does not, because it is the essence, it does not depend on anything else, and it cannot be reduced further, and it is complete also. That's why we are saying it is the independent existence. Now this if you observe the self, if you are in the self, if you are present in the self, then you will notice that there is complete nothingness. There is no substance of the, you cannot find anything out of which it is made of. Though it is the substance of all the experiences, but the substance itself is emptiness. We are calling it shunya. You can now recall the Buddha saying that there is no self. There is no self means there is nothing concrete there. It is the emptiness, complete shunya, complete nothingness. But does that mean in nothingness nothing exists? No, it is the nature of the self. There is no positive quality or positive things you can attribute to the self. That's why even Buddha called it emptiness. Even before Buddha, these things were known. You can go to the Vedanta and the Upanishads and even the many enlightened people who explain you these things. Now the most important and relevant thing about the self is, if you come to know that you are the self and not any of these experiences, which means you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the emotions, you are not the energy, and you are not the sensations, then what you are? You are the self. The interesting thing is, this self is peaceful and blissful by its own nature. And these are the two things which people struggle to find in the life. They try to bring these qualities into their life via the outside experiences, which in itself, in the scheme of things, is not possible. How can you attain to peace and bliss? Bliss does not mean that it will come and go. It is by nature in the self. Self is so pristine and self is so beautiful. That's why attaining to this self knowledge is called as the highest knowledge in the human life. Even if you are not understanding any of the things we are discussing, still by looking at the fruit of attaining the self, which is you will be peaceful and blissful by your own nature. Now what is the next step after you have the knowledge of the self? Though knowledge is not possible because there is no substance in the self, it is actually unknowable. No knowledge of it is possible, and because it is the substance of existence, by virtue of it, no complete knowledge of the existence is possible. Yes, people try. Your intellect will have to fall short of attaining the knowledge to anything completely in the life. You can see the fate of physical experiments and sciences. There may be things which are known and which are unknown, which can be converted into known, but there are some things which will always be unknowable. The self and the nature of the experiences is one such thing. So after attaining to the knowledge of the self, one can remember the self. Yes, one can be in the presence of self, one can be it. And the next step after attaining to self realization is, which is a very little step, but it is very important to discuss, is that the self, the experiencer and experiences, when they merge together, we divide, in the previous slides we divided these things, experience and experiencer or self, into two things for the convenience of our intellect. But when they merge together, the experiencing remains. There is only some process where both experience and experiences merge together. Even to say that they merge together is incorrect, because we are making these statements on the behalf of our intellect, which divides the reality to understand. So it is not correct to say they they were merged together, or they merged together after self realization. They were already merged, so nobody can explain it, this phenomena, after the self realization. And here the silence is the best thing, because the now when the self and the experience merges, when you are the world, when observer is the observed, then silence is the best answer, because intellect has to shut up, or even intellect can be included in the experience. Now this matter has gone beyond our understanding, beyond the understanding of human life, and we have transcended the intellect while coming to this. This is the famous state known as samadhi state. Sam means equanimous, dhi means intellect. So if you attain to equanimous intellect, then we call it as a samadhi state. It is the most beautiful state, because even the person is not there, even the individual has lost its individuality, and only the experiencing, only the existence remains. Now I know all the description will fall short of it, and these are only pointers, so that when you come to know, you will remember that okay, someone before you explained to you. So when the existence is witnessing itself, you may be thinking that the point of view of the individual is lost in these states. Here the existence, you won't be able to say that you were witnessing the world like in the previous or in our normal life. You will see that existence were or is witnessing itself. But the substance of existence is emptiness. There is no substance. So emptiness is witnessing something called if you can say experiences, but the substance of experiences is emptiness. That is why this world is called Maya, that which is, but it is not what it seems to be. That's why this world is called Maya. Maya does not mean that the people and things disappear. Maya only means it is a illusion of some kind. You are taking this as true, but it is not true, and yet it is true because it is relatively true. Now these states are also called non-dual Advait. Advait means not two states. They have not said like there are one state. They say there are no two states. Now this is also the goal of yoga. This is also the goal of yoga, where the union happens. What does this union comprises of? It comprises of you and the world. The subject and the object merges together. In fact, they were already merged. Because of your divided intellect, you were perceiving the world into two. And today I asked I inspired some people around me to go into the depth of this question, that what is the source of desires. And this is actually the source of desire. When you divide the world into two, between a subject and the object, between you and the other, only then the question of attaining something occurs. And because of your ego, because of your intellect, you feel that you are a separate entity, and this separate entity tries to survive in the world. It tries to gather something from the world when it is already the world. Who will tell a beggar that he is already a king? I know nobody will believe me or the many people before me, but this is this is more certain like your death. It is so certain. You just have to open your eyes and see. Now, this is the famous nirvana and dissolution told by Buddha. Nirvana means the flame does not exist anymore. The flame of individuality disappears. Dissolution means you are free. The complete freedom, mukti, moksha. You were thinking you have to attain mukti, but you are already dissolved. Now what to do? And this knowledge is termed as Brahmagyan in our scriptures. So the first step is self-realization, and attaining to the self-realization, one can be in the self, and being in the self is called self-remembrance. Do not forget yourself among the illusory world, and this is the primary sadhana that one does. Now it doesn't, you can do the sadhana by keeping your eyes open, by sleeping, by lying down 24/7. There are no constraint, not some purification practices, be in the silence, this and that. But it only happens once you have been through all these things, through all the sadhana, so that you can listen to this knowledge and have a pointer, or have at least the direction. If the spirituality thing is so broad that it is very easy that people get confused in metaphors. Without a guru it's not possible actually to move even an inch in this field. You will spend 20, 30, 50, 80 years of your life and will not come to understanding what has been just told now to you as a pointer. And this is the end of spirituality, and here you should stop. The simple goal of life, to have a happy and free life, is attained by in these two steps. First is self-realization, second is Brahmagyan. Now humans have been searching for bliss and peace within, and at least I can say it with authority that self-knowledge is the only permanent way. Never before any other way existed other than knowing yourself, and nor in future it will be. That's why it's important on the part of people who knows these things, and to broadcast them to the people who want to go on this journey. If people are tired of their life, tired of their efforts, and tired of going after the things, having much money, everything in life it can offer, still the peace and bliss is not within their reach. So self knowledge is the only permanent way to have these two things, because these are the properties, or the intrinsic nature of the self is bliss and peace. So I wish that you you find the self, remain in the self, know thyself, and attain to this peace and bliss within. Shivoham, Shivoham.